5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire. The only thing we have to fear is fear.
Mile 18.
This is Endurance Nation.
New for 2024, we are rolling out a Tenerife training camp. That's right, Tenerife as in the Canary Islands. I went there last year on an exploratory trip, spent a week on the island getting wined and dined by the tourist board, lived the life. It's fantastic. It's amazing. It's very reminiscent of Hawaii as an island with many microclimates. With our special camp setup, we're going to split our time. Half of the time will be in the southern area, the drier, more mountainous, rigid areas of the island, and half of the time will be in the north, a little more lush, rainforesty, incredible green landscapes, cooler weather in the shade, but still plenty of gain and work to be done. This is the island where professional cyclists go every year between November and January to train, and now you can go there too. We go a little bit later just to make it easy. Don't want to get in the way of those professional cyclists, but it's still going to be a fantastic time. We'll be doing our typical approach of having fun, making new friends, enjoying great food, exploring our fitness, and challenging ourselves on a daily basis. You can learn more on our Tenerife training camp page at mile18inc.com. That's mile18inc.com.
Endurance Nation.
Hey there, everyone. It's Coach Patrick. I'm here with another Coach Videocast podcast. And surprise, it's about race execution as we head into our race execution bootcamp on October 12th. You can go to endurancenation.us/bootcamp to learn more, to enter your email, to get all of the downloads, and be entered to win some cool sponsor prizes. It's a great opportunity for you to up your game, to become a better athlete overall by learning how to add a racing component to your repertoire, and take your training to the next level. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the definition of a great race, because I think there's some serious biases that we have as a social-oriented society, as a sort of like results data-oriented culture subgroup of endurance athletes that really takes away from what great racing is. So in general, endurance racing sort of has this solo mindset, right? Like athletes are on this long journey on race day, and they often lead long solitary lives doing all this training on their own. We have mythological stories of people who've just left work one day and just decided to run, and then ran till all their clothes fell off of them, and then they were still running, and then they ordered a pizza and they kept running, and then they won a world championship, and it's like everyone's trying to like leave their office and go for some sort of crazy run or some version of that. And the strange part about it is that the majority of endurance athletes, I've been coaching since 2004, so I've been coaching for 20 years. The majority of endurance athletes are actually just really awesome, ordinary people who have a dream to be active and to find personal excellence in a place that resonates with the internal core of who they are as a human being, which is built around movement, which is built around a healthy lifestyle, and is built about expressing that in the world through activity. And that could range to a variety of things. It doesn't have to be just endurance athletics, but that's the space that you and I are in. And being awesome inside that space is often and unfortunately objectified as something that gets back down to performance. So did you or did you not have a good race? It comes down to, did you set a PR, right? Did you go faster than you went before, right? Did you or did you not have a great race? Like, where were you in comparison to your peers, right? Did you have a good race? Did you crack some sort of like generally accepted milestone? Did you run a sub 3 hour marathon? Did you go sub 10 hours in an Ironman? Did you go sub 9 hours at Leadville? Whatever those items are. And this permeates the sport from not only people outside the sport looking in. Oh, you do triathlon? That's great. Have you done that one that I see on TV in Hawaii? And you know that only like 1% of 1% gets to go. You're like, no. And your friend's like, oh, all right, well, good luck next time. See you. People like that number because it allows them to make a very clear distinction. Oh, you're on this side versus on that side. What side team are you on? And unfortunately, even inside Endurance Nation, we are all biases to this. We see people post their great stuff online inside the feed. They don't always post their bad days or their low days. I do my best to kind of normalize it, but we even internally have that struggle. And the reality is that a great race has literally nothing to do with the time. A great race inside Endurance Nation can be had by anybody, whether you're a first timer, whether you're doing an Ironman in 16 hours, 59 minutes, or you're doing it in 8 hours and 59 minutes. A great race means racing to your personal potential. We have all of our training, we have all of our data, and we know how fast and how strong you can be. The challenge becomes, can you take what you've built over time and then put that into action on the race course to realize your potential? Now, it's not like we use some kind of calculator, and there's plenty of websites and coaches out there that have calculators that'll tell you just how fast you should go, and you can measure it against that. I really prefer a much more subjective way, which is taking a look at the data. In other words, when you're racing as an endurance athlete, the mindset that we all bring to the table is that I am drawing, I'm building a graph, much like an EKG would be in some of your favorite TV drama show, that tells a story of my day. And I'm building a graph that shows that I was really smart at the start of my day and I made good decisions, that I was steady and worked well in the center part of my race, the majority of my race, call it like 70, 80%. And then at the end, when things got really tough, I kept going. And we define that kept going. Sometimes it's pace, but for the most part, it's looking at your heart rate. Can you keep going? Can you sustain the level of work? We should see your heart rate at the very least stay flat towards this last 20% of your race, or in some cases actually increase because you're keeping that pressure on. And that's a very simple marker to go back and like, did I keep going, right? Another element we add to the component is your decision-making skills. So sometimes people just have bad luck, right? You just can't count on it if you get sick before a race, or I don't know, like a boar runs out of the woods and like spears your front fork on your bike and is broken. You can't do it. So what decisions can you make that allow you to have a great race as well? So we'll also look at decision making as a criteria. You had a choice about nutrition. Did you make the right choice about your nutrition? You had a choice with the heat. Did you make the right choice about heat? And the reason why we celebrate choices is that each of these decisions only happen in races. And if you're racing 3 times a year, maybe max, maybe 4 for some of these longer races, you only get 4 chances in a year to make those decisions. And so we want to celebrate them because you're going to, by rewarding you and by you celebrating them and by us celebrating them with you, you're burning them into your core understanding of what it means to race. And you now know that, hey, when I'm faced with this challenge on this type of day, this is what I do to make that challenge better. You're starting with a new level baseline. So not only do we have this concept of like a great race being what's your personal opportunity and how do you express that through activity on the day, but we're also talking about what decision making means and how things go, right? And then ultimately, we just want to know how you felt about that race overall. Were you able to achieve what you wanted to achieve on that day? Whatever that thing may be. It may not be something that's identified with a number. This could just be a race to get you back in shape. It could be a race to inspire you to lose weight. It could be a race to just do with a friend. Whatever that is, we also want to dive into that. And in all of those cases, I hope you're very, very aware that we're not talking about those external sort of objective things. We cannot control the weather. We cannot control the other people who show up in your age group. We cannot control that wild boar that came out and took your front fork out. I'm so sorry about that bike. It was a beautiful, beautiful bike. But you're the only person in humanity that's been bored by someone in the front fork and lost on race. So there you are, you're famous. But we bring it all internal and we look at the things that you can control. And you'll see more of that when we get to our 4 keys of race execution and the framework that we use to make sure that our athletes are making the best possible decisions and setting themselves up for success on race day. It's easy to stress out about the things that you can control. But all of that at the end of the day is simply taking you away from focusing on the things that matter. The less time you spend on the things that matter, the things inside your control, the less you're going to be able to use them to the maximum of your ability. And race day, done well within the context that I've spoken about here today, is really the maximum expression of your personal potential, both athletically and from a mindset perspective, like a mental engagement perspective, to have that perfect race. So people will say after a great, phenomenal world championship performance, they'll say, it was no chain day. I was just flying. It was so easy. It was all downhill, etc. That's because they've actually achieved what we call flow, right? A state of flow. And part of that flow is that synchronicity between your athletic work and that mental place where you're in, where there's a total alignment, almost a harmony that allows you to have a fantastic entire race, part of a race, one leg of a race. Even that would be amazing at times to get you into that place. And we do that by working specifically on defining what a great race is for you and then teaching you and supporting you as you go on the path to learn the skills to actually make that race happen. So next time you're thinking about a race and someone's asking you what you want to do for a race, I mean, think about it. Have your goals, do your things. But remember that at the end of the day, the success of your race isn't just a function of a time. You can go super fast and have a terrible race, a race that you would never be able to replicate, a race that you learned nothing from, a race that you totally destroyed your body, but you have a number on a dial. That's a thing. You could say that you did it, right? It's like Evel Knievel shooting himself across a canyon, flying in the air, like landing on the other side upside down and like destroying his bike and his entire body and having to go through surgery. And you could say he jumped that gap, but like, did he really? Like, he's on the other side of that gap, but I wouldn't say that he jumped, because jumped implies that you actually landed something. In this case, the only thing that landed on Evel Knievel was his own bicycle at like 50 miles an hour. So I think we have to really redefine what it means to be excellent. And we'll be doing that in our race execution bootcamp. October 12th, 11 a.m. You'll see it streamed live online. You can get the recording and rewards if you sign up at endurancenation.us/bootcamp, where you can learn more about how we apply this unique framework to our racing approach, but also how we work with athletes as well to help them develop and evolve to become really well self-coached athletes, set them free after 3 years to go achieve their objectives in whatever their sport may be. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope your curiosity is a little piqued and that you'll tell your friends about the bootcamp and that we'll see you there as well. Thanks, folks. Take care. Have an awesome week.
Endurance Nation.
Hey, podcast fans. I know you love the podcast because here you are, you're listening to it and you're still listening to me talk right now. Did you know you can get content just like this in your inbox once a month? We send out a great newsletter. We call it, guess what? The Unfair Advantage. That's right. It's our information to you, something that separates you from the competition. If they're not here, then they don't know. But if you are here, then now you do. Zero excuses. If you go check us out online at endurancenation.us/newsletter, it's your opportunity to enter your email address, sign up for these updates. They come once a month, sometimes twice a month, depending on my race schedule. And it's your chance to get insider information that's going to help you become a better, smarter athlete. Don't miss out on this chance to get ahead of the competition. It doesn't cost you any money, and it's not a ton of work. It's just your email address. That's endurancenation.us/newsletter.
For more information about Endurance Nation, visit us online at endurancenation.us. The provided music is from the Podshow Podsafe Music Network. Check it out at music.podshow.com.